Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So this is actually something unexpected. Champion attributes are actually officially here because we do have a small preliminary list of champion attribute breakdowns as well. And there is this post that kind of has gone under the radar today. But the point is that the short version of it is they are going to give 5 scores to every champion in the game eventually based on their damage, survivability, ease of use, utility, and defender strength. And they do kind of explain how they arrived to their categories. And I think the biggest issue I have is with damage, because the damage category is going to be effectively meaningless by all reasonable player base, to be honest, because they do not separate short, medium, and long fights, and they do not give any, sub ratings for these things, and they weigh all of them equally. That means, for instance, as we know, again, as they explain here, they themselves basically explain that Corvus Glaive and Aegon. Obviously, Aegon scores super high DPS in long fights, and Corvus Glaive scores high DPS in short fights, but does miserable in long fights. And they end up with the same champion attribute. Those two champions are wildly different by their use because of their damage in different pieces of content. And not having some sort of sub rating for damage specifically, it makes this thing entirely meaningless, because when you do take a look at the champion, whether it's going to have good or great or bad damage, you're also interested good damage where, bad damage where. Like, you know what I mean? When you get a new champion, there's going to be Sauron and what other champ, and he's going to score 2 in the damage rating. And it turns out that that damage that champion that scores, let's say 2, is Corvus or 3 or whatever they score him at. And it's amazing damage for everything that you need. It's amazing damage for casual questing. It's amazing damage for like AQ and AW. But he has a very low damage score because that champion could potentially absolutely suck in longer fights. Not to mention the champion's damage significantly varies based on matchups as well. But that is something, that you kind of can't avoid, and these ratings can be misleading in that sense. As in, Human Torch will have significantly greater damage against Mystic champions than he will have against skill champions that, will shrug off all of his debuffs. Or even any, Incinerate immune champion if he's not using No Flames. So again, when it comes to damage, I really think there should be more subcategories or more kind of explanation given to each of these ratings. But then, survivability, it's kind of fair enough. It's basically things that let you survive, either regeneration effects or damage mitigation, so that kind of makes sense. And overall base idea is, how hard it is to take down the champion, kind of ease of use. It's also relatively straightforward to understand. I do realize that there will be, again, opinionated people with each of these specific examples, but it does make sense. Ghost is not the easiest champion to use, and the way they explain it here is what's the difference whether the champion is being used by a very experienced summoner who has played that champion for months and pretty much mastered it, and versus a player who pretty much picks it up the first time, or spends an hour with the champion, and that does kind of make sense. I think this is objectively decent criteria. And utility, again, this is one that's going to be extremely kind of opinionated, and they use examples as Colossus having like medium in his utility kit and Quake having all the way crank up to 5. And defender strength also kind of makes sense. It's basically how hard it is to kill these champions. And they kind of use Black Widow here as an example, where we have damage in 3 out of 5. Overall, I guess I'd agree with that. Then we have survivability 5 out of 5, sure. Ease of use 2 out of 5. I'd probably give it a bit more. Unsleek Lair is not that tricky in generic circumstance. Yes, there is a bit of, skill to master her very well for, let's say, Alliance War, but in generic content, it's not that hard. Utility 4 out of 5. Again, at the first glance, I probably would have given 5 out of 5 because she does have regeneration, power steal, immunities, access to damage over time effects, powerful nullifies. I would have given 5, but, again, that's always going to be kind of up to debate. And then we have defender strength, where, yeah, realistically, unless you're fighting her in like flow node in Alliance War, still remember that nightmare, but it's not that bad. But they also give us rating for 18 champions, well, 19, including Claire. Wait, yeah. So it's going to be interesting to check. Now, I will make a separate video when I make a spreadsheet where I log all of these champions, and will make it obviously available to all of you, and I'm going to keep it updated as they add more ratings, because I do think it's going to be extremely interesting to see the correlation on which champions are technically the better ones, let's say on my tier list or whatever, and which champions are scoring the most points overall on Kabam's tier list per categories, or let's say per offensive categories, because I will definitely also for offensive use omit this score, and then we can count in the first 4 scores, or we can perhaps omit ease of use as well and count in damage, survivability, and utility as kind of like the major factors, because I do believe it is important. Ease of use is something that you can just learn. It doesn't make champion inherently better or worse if you have the capacity to learn the champion. And of course, whilst you're using the champion, defensive strength again does not necessarily matter. So it's going to be interesting to make these leaderboards, which champion, for instance, has not only the highest damage but utility and survivability, or which champion has the highest damage and utility and stuff like that. So it's hopefully going to make for compelling spreadsheet and compelling video. But now let's take a look at the champions that they are going to be characterizing here. So I'm going to go with Aegon, and Aegon scores 4 in survivability. Don't necessarily understand how. He has pretty much nothing aside from his heavy attack to mitigate damage. 5 in damage. Again, ease of use is 3. Utility is 4. Defender strength is 1. Okay, so 4, 5, 3, 4, 1. Let's compare it to... Oh, actually, I should have just opened the new tab. Let's compare Nick Fury and Shang-Chi. And we're going to open this one again for reference. So we have Nick Fury. And Nick Fury, survivability, 3 again. How can Aegon have more in survivability? I don't necessarily understand that. Aegon is 4 in survivability, even though he's significantly squishier, and Nick Fury has like an extra life. Then we're gonna have Shang-Chi with 3, 4, 4, 4, 1. Okay. Nick Fury has 3, 5, ease of use 2. Really? Is Nick Fury that hard to use? I don't think so. Anything, Wait, I want to reread again how they are determining this ease of use. Requires certain level of mastery, regeneration damage, not all accessible. So, okay, experience summoner. Okay, so let's take a look at some definitely hard champion to use really well. Well, let's go with... Okay, let's take a look. She-Hulk, Human Torch, and Captain America Infinity War. Let's see how they rank these guys up. Survivability 4. How? How is she getting more than Nick Fury in survivability? Because she put some exhaustion or something on her opponent? Damage 4, that's fine. Ease of use 2. Utility 4. I really don't get how they do. Okay, so if She-Hulk is ease of use 2, I don't understand why Nick Fury has ease of use so low then. Human Torch survivability 1. Damage max. Again, you really do want to have like a subcategory here. Captain America Infinity War. Utility ease of use 3. Why not? Can somebody tell me why is it easier to use Human Torch than it is to use Captain America Infinity War? I don't think it is, really. Genuinely don't think it is. So it's gonna be... I don't want to dismiss this entire thing, but I think if you are a more experienced player, you're gonna definitely disagree with a ton of these writings. I know that I do, immediately looking at these. Captain Marvel, survivability 4. Fine, let's assume that. Because of that indestructibility, I guess. Damage 5. Okay, ease of use 1. Utility 4. Hyperion. Utility 2. So it's saying Captain Marvel has twice the amount of utility that Hyperion does. And Cosmic Ghost Rider. 3. These baffle me. These genuinely baffle me. I don't see the game the way it's laid out here. I genuinely, like, damage is Cosmic Ghost Rider 5, sure, I agree with that. Damage Hyperion 5, sure, I agree with that. Damage 5, sure, I agree with that. But then the rest of these things. Survivability on Cosmic Ghost Rider 2, for instance. I don't think so. Because whenever you do get hit, you gain a massive armor up, and he has some of the biggest block proficiency in the game. He's a fairly sturdy dude. Ease of use, sure. Somebody tell me, is it really the same to use Nick Fury and Cosmic Ghost Rider in terms of difficulty? I don't think so. I know that I will personally be extremely frustrated with these ratings. I genuinely know. Let me know, how do you guys think? What do you guys think? Are these great idea, bad idea, useful, not useful? Okay, let's check out Dr. Doom, just for the curiosity. Let's check out Dr. Doom. I'm gonna make a video specifically where I have listed all of these, and then we're gonna, you know, compare them with each other. Survivability 4. Again, I disagree. I think Dr. Doom is basically immortal in most of the meaningful contests because of how tanky he is. Damage 3. I will have to disagree. Yes, you need level 2, but he does. Ease of use 4. Yeah, that's true. It's quite easy to use him. Utility max. I agree with that. Defender strength high. Okay. Survivability, sure. Damage 2. Ease of use. Again, I don't think it's hard to use this champion. Utility 4, sure. Symbiote Supreme. Damage 3. Don't know. I really don't know how I feel about these things. And to use this, where virtually every champion, or at least half of the champions, I disagree with their ratings, to use that as a base for rebalancing program, it just makes me even more worried about the entire thing. I really wish they canceled the whole balancing program thing. Either way, let me know what you guys think about these new champion attributes. I'm gonna catch you guys soon. I'll leave a link to this article in the description. So yeah.
Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about